Hello, I'm JP Holecka, Bureau member, founder of Power Shifter Digital, and AI enthusiast. Today, I'm going to go over some generative AI marketing tools that I'm using internally for being more productive and also externally for generating content and whatnot. Now, this is just a small sample of the many generative AI tools that are out there and growing daily, but I'm hoping that this will give you a good sense of what you can do with the tools that I present today, and maybe will help those of you that haven't started this journey begin to dive in. Okay, so on the agenda today, I'm going to talk about what generative AI is. We're going to go through GPT or ChatGPT. Mid-Journey, which is image creation, DID, which is in the video space, and Tome, which is in the presentation space. What is generative AI? A lot of you have heard of AI. There are many types of AI, but in the last year, generative AI has been really making the headlines and making a big impact to en masse. Probably as big an invention or advance in technology as it was when they released the internet and we got access to the web. Generative AI is a type of artificial intelligence that creates new content such as image, text, and audio using deep learning techniques like generative adversarial networks. It differs from traditional AI systems that recognize patterns and predictions. Some generative AI examples in areas in which there are tools are chatbots like ChatGPT, search engines like Bing, writing assistants like Jasper and others, ChatGPT extensions inside the Chrome browser, productivity tools such as Motion for doing your own task management, meeting assistants, image generation like DALL-E, Stable Diffusion, and Mid-Journey, video effects, green screen, rotoscoping, editing, all kinds of video effects, audio effects, text-to-speech, creation of music, editing of music, all kinds of music tools, and audio to text. These are some of the areas, but not all of the areas in which generative AI is playing a big role. I'll start with ChatGPT, which was created by OpenAI and is built on top of the GPT model. It's the one that's really made the news and probably some of the most significant impacts to the way in which people do generate content. It's got millions of users already and outpaced every other application that has been created. I'm going to go through a couple of things on what ChatGPT does well and what I have been able to use it for. I'm going to show you how it can take on a persona and you can have a conversation of with that persona. I'm going to show you how it can critique copy that you would like to see improved. I can show you how I use it for data analysis for quantitative data that's always quite difficult to understand or to parse out. I'm going to show you how to generate content from existing content and some other GPT-enabled tools like FactGPT and Notion. ChatGPT and personas. So GPT has consumed everything written in history up until 2021, which is a lot. So it understands everything about advertising. It understands and has read transcripts for ads, social media ads, television ads. It understands the job descriptions of what a creative director is, magazine articles written by creative directors, understands everything to do with advertising, the people that make it, the outputs that have been created, what has been successful, what has not been successful. The second one I'll show you is a motivational coach, and it can take on for all the things on which I just referred to from an advertising perspective. It has read all of the motivational coach books. It understands who a motivational coach is, how you would use one, who would use one, in which context. So I'm going to go through just 2 personas today to give you an example of how ChatGPT can be a partner in a persona perspective. What I have here is a prompt that I created. I want you to act as an advertiser. You will create a campaign to promote a product or service of your choice. You will choose the target audience, develop the key message and slogans, select the media channels for promotion, decide on additional activities needed to reach your goals. My first suggestion request is I need help creating an advertising campaign of a new energy drink targeting young adults aged 18 to 30. So I'm going to copy this here. I'm going to jump over to ChatGPT. I'm just going to paste this in, and it's going to now refer to all of which it's learned and create a brief and suggested messaging, slogans, media channels, and other activities for this energy drink. Now, you may not want to use all of these right out of the gate, but it's a great way in which to get things going. You can now have a conversation with this ChatGPT under the persona of an advertiser. So you can ask it more questions. You could say, can you provide So I've asked it to create a couple more tagline options, which it's done 10. So there's 10 more to choose from. If I wanted to say, copy this one and say, I've asked it to drill into ones to make it more hyperbolic. Unleash your superhuman potential to conquer the world with, insert brand name, energy drink. Go further, faster than you've ever thought possible. So as you can see, there's some dialogue that can go back and forth between you and this advertising expert. All right, let's go to the next persona, motivational coach. So ChatGPT is now going to take on the persona of a motivational coach. I'm going to create a new chat. And when you create a new chat, it doesn't remember anything in the other chats. It's pretty much a blank slate to start a new conversation. So I will paste in, I want you to act as a motivational coach. You will provide me with some information about someone's goals and challenges, and it will be your job to come up with strategies that can help a person achieve their goals, etc., etc. So now it's asked, it says, thank you for reaching out. How can I help you? I'm going to have it, I'm going to say that I'm having trouble with getting prepared for my exam. So I say I'm having trouble with the exam. So staying disciplined is hard. What things have you tried in the past? I could say I don't have So now it's recalculating, thinking that there's some things in which to do some quick strategies that can help stay motivated or disciplined. Have you tried breaking down your studies into materials into smaller, more manageable chunks? This can help you make tasks of studying feel less overwhelming and more achievable. etc., etc. So you could ask the motivational coach to have you be motivated and provide strategies, and it will provide strategies based on all of the books it's read and content that it's consumed, and give you contextual suggestions in real time. Okay, next up, I'm going to generate content from a YouTube video. I created a video. YouTube transcribes all of the content into text form, and using a ChatGPT browser extension, I'm going to take that transcript from my video and I'm going to turn it into a couple of different types of content. So I'm going to create an in-depth video summary, make a blog post, some social media posts, series of short videos, and then a quiz. So I'm going to go over to the video in which I produced. Hello and welcome. I'm going to hit pause here, and then I go over to this plugin that I've got. I'm going to copy the content, and it's going to open a new window, paste it in, and ask for a video summary. Now you'll see that it's giving me a very quick video summary of what was said in the video. Now let's go over here, and I want to make a blog post. So I'm going to say, as it's writing, it says sure. It's basically reformatting the entire content into a way in which is digestible. So not just a transcript, but an actual blog post that takes the same content in which I presented in video to be presented in a way in which is digestible and understandable in the context of a blog. Let's go back over here and create some posts for Twitter, LinkedIn, and an email post. So I go back over here, I'll paste that in, and it's now going to come back and give me some suggested. So here's a Twitter post, including some suggested hashtags. There's a couple of options with some suggested imagery. LinkedIn post, which is a little bit more verbose and business focused, and then an email with the subject line and basically a light summary in which the video speaks to. All right. Lastly, say you had a content you created for a class and you wanted to turn that, once they saw the video, you wanted to test them, the people that have viewed it or your students on it. You can now go and ask it to make a quiz. So you can direct it to make a quiz 10 pages and more in depth or less in depth. But right here, there's a quick one with 5 questions and answers. So what challenge did PowerShifter face when trying to refine their value proposition? Difficulty generating content, lack of customer testimonials, service-based business is harder to create a value proposition for. And the answer is C, correct. So there's a 5-question quiz generated just like that. So super, super handy. So that's 5 ways in which you can generate content from YouTube or any other video content. All right, next up. Another challenge when recruiting is there are biases quite often written into job descriptions, which we may not even know about, that can really block or discourage those that are being biased against to not apply for the role. And as you know, getting good talent is not easy. And in a more diverse and equitable world, being able to present job postings in a more neutral way is just generally, the trend. And trend. It's also not super easy to do when you're writing, because as much as you want to remove your biases, they're called biases for a reason. So let's look at a post that we've got out there. And okay, here is an example of a post for a user experience design director that we are looking for. I'm going to do and take this post, and I'm going to say, are there any bias that I should correct? Paste it in. It's telling me there are no obvious biases in this job description. It promotes diversity and inclusion, values people. It does not discriminate on the basis of race, religion, gender, sexual orientation, age, marital status, etc., etc. So that's awesome. And if there were biases, you could ask it, once they identified it, how you may want to rewrite that portion that was without biases. So a really quick way in which you can remove the biases in your job descriptions to ensure that you are not limiting the candidates applying for the roles in which you are posting for your agency. Client testimonials to make a radio spot. In this instance, we were looking to improve or validate our value proposition as an agency. And it's one of the hardest things to do as an agency. And we decided to take 100 of our 100 customer testimonials to source what our customers said about us. So I then took that, worked through questions back and forth as it gleaned what the customers said about us, our clients said about us. And at the end of that, I thought it would be fun to have ChatGPT create a radio spot out of those testimonials, pushing forward the message of the value proposition as experienced by our own clients.
Are you looking for a web design partner that truly understands your unique needs and can help your brand shine? Look no further than PowerShifter. Our team is expert at bringing diverse stakeholders together through genuine empathy and boundless curiosity, resulting in designs that are not only beautiful but truly effective. We're not afraid to ask the tough questions, but we do so with tact and consideration, always putting your needs first. Our approach is agile and authentic, and we're dedicated to being your true partner, not just a vendor. With our help, you'll see your ROAS soar and your website come to life in a way that is both user-friendly and truly reflective of your brand, leaving a lasting impression on your customers. Trust us to guide you through every step of the process and make your experience nothing short of miraculous. Contact PowerShifter today to learn more about how we can help your brand succeed.
So GPT has been around for quite some time. It's only recently made a splash because the GPT-enabled ChatGPT was created by OpenAI, the folks that created the model called GPT. There are tools out there and software that have been using it in behind the scenes, tapping into that API so that they can enable ChatGPT-like features within their own tools and software platforms, tailored to the context in which it makes the most sense for their users. So for those that are familiar, Notion is a note-taking tool, an organizational tool, and they have just recently put forward a AI-enabled tools as in a beta. So here's a blank page. I can do a backslash. Here's the Notion AI. I can have it say brainstorm ideas. and I could say brainstorm ideas on a summer Now it's come up with some ideas: host a barbecue cook-off competition among team members, have a potluck barbecue. Lots of things to help you get thought starters. There are ways in which you can make it continue longer, all kinds of tools. So that's just a real quick snapshot of how Notion has embedded AI into their platform. FactGPT. One of the challenges with using ChatGPT is that although it has consumed a lot of content, all content up until 2021, having it be used as a tool for research for things that are more current is not possible. The other challenge with ChatGPT and generative AI in general is that they can write really convincing stuff that's not true. And so relying on ChatGPT's content for research content can be a challenge because it doesn't provide any sources. So FactGPT, which is powered by the GPT API, actually has some tools that you can do your research for blog posts, create blog posts. However, it has the ability to provide the sources so that you know that when you publish content, you can verify where it's from and that it actually is real content. So I've got the interface open here. Down here, I've got write a blog post of 400 words on the history of Twitter. I'll go down here and generate content. So now it's going out onto the web and probably doing a Google or Bing search. I'm not sure what it's using for search engine. So it's going out on the web saying history of Twitter. And it's then going to scrape the content from those pages and then come back with a blog post in its own words on the history of Twitter. And it's going to provide the sources so that you can go through the writing and make sure that what is written is factual and that it can't be challenged. So here's the response: 400-word history on Twitter, including sources. I'm going to open up a new editor over on the right-hand side here, and I'm going to push this content into the editor. I will close this source file down, and now I can go through and use this straight up or tweak it as you see fit. The nice thing is, if you see down here, it has citations and sources so that you can verify all of the content. This tool also has a plagiarism tool, as well as tools to help with SEO, keywords, and you can tie it into your SEM Rush account if you have that, and then you can publish directly into it. There are many different tools within this FactGPT. There's the FactGPT tool, which I was using. There are text extenders, rephrasers, headline creators, listicles, all kinds of tools for creating content. I primarily use this one for FactGPT because I want to make sure that my sources of content are validated and true. All right, now over to text to image generation. There are several. There's Stable Diffusion, DALL-E, which is created by the same folks that has ChatGPT and GPT, and Midjourney. I am most familiar with Midjourney the way in which it works and the rendering style is one that suits me best. And so I'm going to show you some examples of Midjourney, but these will apply to the other platforms in which I've mentioned as well. So Midjourney is an image generation tool that creates images from textual description, similar to DALL-E and Stable Diffusion. It uses its interfaces done through Discord. And here are some examples of images that I've done in recent weeks. I had it design a knife as if Dieter Rams, the famous designer at Braun, would have done. I created a little narrative of a Batman when he solved all the crime and doing boring things in Gotham City. I then did a experimental collaboration concept of Star Wars and Converse shoes. You can see a pretty cool looking Stormtrooper shoe here in a studio products lit situation, as well as a much more graphic style image of Batman. Just a tiny sample of what it's going to do. I'm going to share with you some prompts here and some ways in which to use this as a way in which to generate images either internally, externally, or whatever you need it for. All right, let's go over to Discord. These are all some predetermined prompts which I know work, that I will share just a few of how it works here in the Midjourney. So you go /imagine, and now I'm going to say generative AI 8-bit video game graphic. So now it's going off, it's going to take those words, and it's going to give me 4 options in an aspect ratio, 8R, of 3:2 to create some imagery that I could use in this demonstration. I actually use some in the slides of this deck. All right, now it's going through several passes. You can watch it generate the images as it goes through and continually refines the images based on what you've prompted it to do. So there are 4 potential graphics in 8-bit as an interpretation of what generative AI is. You can upscale it. You can go through and prompt it to make changes to a single image if you want to change the colors of one, but you like the general layout. Let's go and do something quite different. Well, let's take generative AI without any context and see what it comes back with. So I'm going to go hit my prompt, imagine, paste in that simple prompt, generative AI, aspect ratio 3:2. Now I'm going to do something very different from a style perspective, near photographic quality. I wanted to do a collab concept photo of what it might look like for Adidas and Star Wars to make tracksuits, and this one in the style are inspired by R2-D2. So now it's starting to generate the one above, which was the simple prompt generative AI without any style directions whatsoever. And you can see that there are some themes that are similar, where there is a human face or a humanoid type face that is partially digitized. But now this one is no longer an 8-bit. So the same theme in how it's interpreted the generative AI, but however in a very different way. Now let's check in with the tracksuit, R2-D2 Adidas style tracksuit. So again, I asked it to be an Indian model. I didn't specify gender, and it's given me both, and it's given me some options. There's some weird artifacts for sure, like the weird R2-D2 underneath here. But nonetheless, there's some pretty cool ones. And if I wanted to, I could tweak it, but let's upgrade. Let's upgrade this one at the top. While we're waiting for that to render, I'll go in and do yet another style. This one in the style of a sticker. I have a cute little Boston Terrier and wanted to design some stickers around what a Boston Terrier sticker could look like for a gift. So hit the prompt, and I'm going to go cute little Boston Terrier. Delete this because I found in the past that's messed it up. And I'm going to hit return. Now I've given it a reference image of a sticker so that it knows what a sticker is. But we're going to now see what it generates for us. So there's 4 options starting to render in. It's definitely a Boston Terrier. I would say it's cute. There we go. So there's 4 options that you could turn into a Boston Terrier sticker that is on the cute side, vector illustration style. Now we have our upscaled image of our Indian model in an R2-D2 outfit. And as you can see, it is quite difficult to tell it's not a photograph. However, I've always say that Midjourney can't count, so there's too many fingers. It's notorious for that. So I would regenerate it and work on making it that there was only 4 fingers and 1 thumb. Okay, so that is some samples of what Midjourney and image generation can do. On to text-to-speech and speech-to-video animation with a platform called DID. DID is relatively new and I think still has a ways to go. However, I believe that the videos here could be really good for help content, internal training videos, and the likes. I'm going to show you how I created a quick little spot. So I'm in the studio here. I had earlier already created the R2-D2 tracksuit model in a different pose. So I'm going to go here. I also had ChatGPT. I'll go over here and grab it. ChatGPT, I instructed it to write me 40 words around this collaboration as if it was a narration. So I'm going to paste that generated content over here. I've uploaded this image already. I'm going to go and generate the video. Generating. So now you can see it's rendering, and in just a few seconds, it will have converted the text to speech.
I am thrilled about the new Adidas Star Wars collaboration tracksuits. The designs are out of this world, featuring iconic characters and sleek details. I can't wait to show them off at the gym.
So it's transcribed the text to audio and then taking a still image and mapped it to real movement and synced up the lips to the words being said. Again, I don't think this would be good for a frontline video for a brand. However, I could see social content, help content, FAQs, internal facing videos, and the likes. So that is DID. One more tool to show you. Tone. It sits in the presentation space. So there are several tools in the presentation space for that are enabled by AI. This is one that I've played with, and I think it's pretty powerful, and there's a lot of useful aspects to it. All right, so I'm on my Notion page here. Got a link to it, and we needed to get our client up to speed on story mapping. We didn't have any content to send them ahead of time. They were not aware of what story mapping was, even though they were going to be joining us for a workshop the following day. I decided that I needed to get something simple, yet comprehensive enough to give them a good orientation as to what story mapping is, what they were going to participate on, and why it was important. I'm now in Tone. I'm going to present the content that I want generated down here. I want to make sure that there's no images. I don't need them. I'm going to provide them. It is in our own brand. I'm going to hit return. And now it's going to create a 6 to 8 page presentation that is easy to understand on why our client is going to be participating in this workshop and how they're going to need to come into it. Okay, so here is my 8-page presentation for a client that's going to be taking a story mapping workshop with us that has never done so. We have an intro. It's a powerful tool for designing digital products. Story mapping helps create a better user experience by understanding the user journey. How to do it, tools for story mapping, tips for story mapping, and a conclusion. So may not need to use all of it. However, we grab this, put it into our own template design, put our own images in, and we're able to get the information to the client the day before so they were prepped coming into it. That is now in our collection of client-facing instruction presentations. So that is just a small sampling of Tome. And all right, and that's it. That's just a tiny sample of generative AI tools that I'm using, our agency's using, and that I encourage you to explore. And hopefully you found this helpful. Hopefully this saves you time. Hopefully this gets you generating new ideas. And who knows where this will take you. I'm JP Holecka, CEO and founder of PowerShifter Digital, and I wish you the best of luck on your AI journey.